Hey guys, today I'm bringing you my review of Yooka Laylee. There was a time in the late 90s and early noughties when 3D platformers were all the rage. Ever since Mario entered the third dimension, everybody was quick to make one. There was a lot of good and a lot of bad 3D platformers about, but the most prominent and well-received developer of 3D platformers was Rare. During the late 90s, they were pumping hit after hit out. That was until Microsoft bought the company and put the kibosh to all the games. For the past few years now, the 3D platformer genre is pretty much dead. Bar Nintendo's 3D Mario series, that is. But with a few years ago, a load of old Rare employees started up a Kickstarter for a new 3D platformer. The goal was met, and now the fruits of their labour is finally here. But is Yooka Laylee a pleasant return to the long-forgotten genre, or is it a genre that should have stayed in the past? Let's find out. The plot is pretty wafer thin, but nevertheless provides a fun setup. An evil bee called Capital B wants to steal all the books in the world for a money-making scheme. One of the books that have been stolen belongs to the duo, so they travel through all the worlds to get the lost pages back. As I said before, the plot isn't really nothing to write home about, but the script is actually one of the game's highlights. The game provides plenty of self-referencing, fourth-wall-breaking humour, and certainly will provide you with some chuckles, even if the characters do go on a bit sometimes. On to the actual gameplay now, and the game is split into 5 worlds and 1 hub world. You start in the hub world of Highbury Towers and you start collecting a few pages from there. Once you get a few of them, you unlock different game worlds and you start getting into the game properly. As soon as you get into the first world, Tribal Stack Tropics, you'll be running all over the place exploring the world. And once you start getting the lay of the land, your main task is to find those pages. There's around 25 of these things in each of the worlds, and you can gain them from doing many different tasks like beating up enemies, completing them races, solving simplistic puzzles, and generally just exploring about. Once you feel like you've exhausted the current world, you can decide on how you want to progress. You can either go straight on to the next world, or make the current world you're visiting bigger. You can make these bigger by spending pages, and these worlds do change, visually and mechanically. Take the starting world, Tribal Stack Tropics. It gets vertically very big, and the second world, Glittergaze Glacier, gains a new palace, which is viewed entirely from an isometric viewpoint. These new expansions to the world certainly do make re-exploring older worlds a joy, and they do certainly add a lot more. The worlds themselves are a bit of a mixed bag. The first world, Tribal Stack Tropics, is in my book the best world on offer here. It's huge and there's plenty of secrets and things to do. The other few worlds also do deliver quite a bit of fun, though I do think the third one is a bit bland visually and the fourth one is a bit empty. Also, some of the activities you'll be doing in the worlds are actually quite disappointing. The recently announced mini-games are frankly awful, and the carton sections are nowhere near as fun as the Donkey Kong Country ones. Thankfully, the compulsion to collect all the odds and sods will keep you coming back for more. And that's good, as these sort of games are really renowned for the abundance of collectibles on offer, and thankfully Yooka Laylee doesn't disappoint. There's the aforementioned pages, where there's 145 of these to collect. There's also 200 quills in each world to collect that can be used to buy new skills. There's also 5 ghosts in each world, a health booster, a pirate treasure, and a few other bits in the world to collect. And thankfully, all these collectibles are worth getting and will certainly take a long while to find them all. The game is fairly lengthy, around the 20-hour mark if you just want to collect enough to reach the final boss, but if you want to find all the collectibles, it's probably going to take upwards of the 30-hour mark, so there's a good amount of gameplay for the price. The game certainly embraces its 90s tropes, but the thing is, there's one thing that probably should have stayed in the 90s, and that's the troublesome camera. It is better than most 90s platformers' cameras, but the camera has its faults in tight spaces, and in some instances, the camera is fixed and you cannot move it at all, and it may lead to some cheap deaths. Also annoying is the over-shoulder aiming, which is used for shooting projectiles, which can be a bit slow and sluggish and will likely frustrate a few people. Audio-wise, the soundtrack is absolutely wonderful. Playtonic hired some great artists like David Wise and Grant Kirkhope to make the music, and it certainly shows, as a lot of the tracks here are incredibly catchy, upbeat, and so memorable you'll probably end up humming the tunes for a few days after playing. The game also features various so-called voice acting for each character, and instead of being fully voiced, the characters speak in various grunts and groans. At first it's kinda humorous, but it gets annoying quickly. Thankfully you can turn the voice sound down, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Graphics wise, the game is running on Unity, and I have to say it's one of the nicer looking games. Environments like Tribal Stack Tropics and Glitter Glaze Glacier are certainly a graphical highlight. Character models are also well designed, it's just a shame that the game can be a bit iffy when it comes to the technical side of things. The game targets 30 FPS on both the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. It is a shame that it doesn't try for 60 on the Pro, but the game does stick mostly to the 30 FPS caps with only a few drops here and there. There's the odd stuttering while playing, but you probably won't notice it that much often, but you certainly will notice it in the loading screen where the screen just pauses and jitters around all over the place. It's weird and incredibly off-putting, and I hope they fix it soon. Anyway, after all that, it's time for the conclusion, and Yooka Laylee is a huge love letter to the late 90s 3D platformer, as it's a carbon copy of what made those games so fun and charming to play all those years ago. But it's not without its faults, as the camera is still stuck in the 90s, the performance can be a bit uneven, and one or two of the worlds and some of the activities are a bit weak. But that being said, the game has a lot of charm, a huge amount of freedom, and hordes of things to collect that will see you keep coming back for more. Yooka Laylee gets a 7 out of 10 with the title of good. Thank you for watching my review, like, rate and subscribe, and until next time, bye!